Alright, so I have two goals to show on video this week. One is learning short form Big Larry, which I am not very good at, and apparently not a lot of people sing this because of the fact that it's very, very short compared to most sets. Another is learn this thing. Welcome to T8 week.
So, unfortunately, no Lancer tonight, but that's not going to stop me from doing my usual Friday pizza.
because why not? Also because I need the car drive in order to vlog a little bit. So yeah, forgot to vlog last night and the night before about the stuff I've been doing for the T8 week thing. But both of them had the same theme, so I can just talk about them now. A thing that I'm finding I tend to do with synthesizers that have a delay module, just to test and make sure that you can tweak the delay module properly, is I will see if you can decouple the delay from the tempo, because I've actually found a couple instances where you can't do that with some delays, which is kind of weird. And how low you can go, whether you can pull off car plus strong with it, just for the fun of it. And the answer for the T8 is a resounding yes. Yes, you can do that. There's a noise tom that exists on the hand clap section, which you can apparently make 3 different noises. I'm going to try and experiment more with that tonight. Yeah, you can disconnect. You have to go and do some menu divey nonsense in order to get in there and disconnect stuff and set certain stuff up with the delay. But you can do it. You can do car plus strong synthesis. I actually had quite a bit of fun last night with the jam that I did, and decided that it deserved kind of to be on its own as its own video. It's still going to go here, obviously. You'll just watch it. But yeah, it was pretty solid. I might take it and polish it up and throw it on Bandcamp at some point, just for the lulz, because it was a fun time. What on earth happened over there? Good Lord. Anyhow, so yeah, I've got 3 days left of T8 week. Current thoughts on the synth. It's a fun drum machine. It's got some ability to tweak that I do kind of like. I dislike that you can't do decay or tune at the same time. I also dislike that you can't seem to edit certain parameters on a given synth without being tapped into said section, unless it's the bass, because the bass and the drum stuff are separate. But if you're tapped into one drum part, I had a couple different sections in the jam last night where I attempted to basically change the tone, I think it was. The same thing that every TR-808 does for the any sort of noise tom or whatever, which is basically just, hey, here's a white noise burst, and then you just run a low-pass filter over it that you can sweep. And I tried adjusting that a couple times. I think you can even see it in the video. And I was just like, why is this not working? Before I realized, oh, I'm not selecting that drum part, which means I can't edit that drum part on its own. Which is whatever. It's a quirk of the workflow. I'll have to get used to it. The bass is interesting because I feel like the decay should affect the decay of the synth itself, but it doesn't do that, or at least doesn't seem like it does that in any meaningful way. It feels like it's only meant to work for the envelope, which is interesting, but a bit tricky and annoying. And I'm not super happy with it. It's I don't know. I like the way the keys did it, where you could have that be a thing where I could put in a single note on the sequence somewhere, and it would only play for one step, but it would decay naturally, and it doesn't do that on the T8, which is something I need to get used to. I'm slowly remembering that the TB303 was used fairly often, not just for acid, as last night demonstrated. It's a solid little bass synth. You can do some good stuff with the filter in the right way. It's extremely basic, but it's a fun thing to have as an all-in-one synth, because you can sit there and have it back up something else and that something else works really, really well. I'm going to try and see if I can dig out maybe the J6 and see what we can do with that tonight. I don't know. I should do this more with other stuff that I own, or other stuff that I end up obtaining. I don't know if I'm going to be buying anything. Well, I might end up picking up a Woo box, but not for a bit. But yeah, it's been a fun time so far, and I like this. It's a nice way of learning things. It's the way I learned the S1. It's a viable way of learning the T8. It's just been good at getting me to learn the stuff that I have. I might do this. I might do a week of subharmonicon. Actually, that might be fun. I might make that an August project amidst everything else. Anyways, I'm almost at the pizza place, so I will talk to you all after I'm done doing food and then T8 things. Goodbye. Alright, we're giving this a shot with the extremely janky outdoor filming setup real quick. I have reached the end of T8 week. I have spent a week messing around with this. And you have now, at this point, seen everything I've made with it. I have some thoughts on this thing. Pros, it's a very good TR-808 emulation. Solid drum machine, all things considered. It replicates those sounds really, really well, and if you're looking for a decent, cheap thing that sounds like a TR-808, this is not bad for that. I actually think I might start using this in some places where I would have previously using the Volca Beats. The TB303 also gives that very distinct TB303 acid sound quite a bit, which is pretty neat. And individual, like the routing for the delay and reverb on this, honestly, is underrated, because these here you can send each individual part to separately, which is quite neat, and in different amounts too, which is awesome for a synth this cheap. I wish more stuff had that option. But yeah, that's definitely a selling point. And as usual, this passes the Carplus Strong test. There's the clap here you can change to a low tom, you can change it to a hand clap, or you can change it to a noise tom. I changed it to a noise tom a couple times, and as you've probably heard by now, you can decouple this delay from the tempo, and you can just crank it all the way down and get some fun Carplus Strong sounds out of this. Cons: very, very menu divey. This in order to do a lot of stuff, decoupling the delay, changing the bass waveform on the 303, adjusting which thing the hand clap is. It's all very, very menu divey. There are some things that have some shortcuts, the delay and reverb routing, how long your steps are, stuff like that are a little less menu divey than the rest of them, but very menu divey, kind of slows things down. I don't know if this is quite an easy to jam with synth, other than the fact that you've got mute groups, which probably should have gone in the pro section. I mean, the fact that this has individual mute groups for everything is quite nice. This feels fairly limiting. The sounds that you get in here is what you're getting. What's in here is what there is. You don't get much ability to tweak anything on this. You get some tuning, and you get decay options for your kick and snare. You get decay options for your hi-hats, and that's it. And for your toms as well. There's no adjusting the pitch on these toms. These toms are not easily tunable, which for me is a real big downside, because you can tune them on the vocal beats, and that's handy. That's like super, super handy. The thing I think that is probably the biggest letdown on this is that the 303 section is as limited as it is. Your decay option on here, you get 5 knobs on this thing. You get cutoff, pitch, resonance, decay, and envelope mod. And the envelope mod section, it's okay. It kind of works. I kind of wish it would push things farther, but The decay only works for the filter envelope. You have no envelope control on the synth on this thing at all. It is organ style, open when the thing starts, close when it cuts off. I don't know if maybe that's because of the way the original TB303 architecture used to work, but I don't think it is. And that's a bit disappointing. Pitch is super easy to accidentally knock one way or the other while you're moving other stuff, which can sometimes lead to you being detuned more than you want to be. And the cutoff and resonance is fine. I mean, it's a TB303 filter. It works. That's not really a con, but it still feels super limiting because I have no envelope control whatsoever other than a decay on the filter, and that's it. So if you're looking to do stuff that's not acid on this, it's going to be a bit tricky. You're going to be working with almost no resonance. You're going to be working with menu divey stuff in order to get to the overdrive circuit in there, to change the waveform from maybe a sawtooth to a square, something like that, depending on what you're looking for. And the nature of the way this sequences, it doesn't let you have decay. You have to input high in order to have this go between multiple steps. It's a little bit janky. There are some odd things about this where I'm not sure if they'd be a pro or a con. You've got two different sequence lengths for this. Technically, basically, there are two sequencers in here. There's a drum sequencer, which is where all your drum parts go, and then there's the bass sequencer, and you can change the length of either of them, which is neat. You can't change their step length, which is mildly annoying, but whatever. I do wish you had the ability to change the step length like you do on the S1, or the J6 for that matter, which also lets you do that. But you don't get that, but you can sit there and you can make a 16-step pattern in your drums and then do a 32-step pattern in your bass, or vice versa. I do actually like some of the way that the sequencer on this works, but it's a bit tricky to get used to. The reason I don't immediately say it's a pro is because I don't know if I'll get used to it or not. You've got the option to hit record to put this in a step mode when it's not playing, and you've got your standard XOX style sequencer on this, as you'd kind of expect from a thing that's emulating the thing that gave that sequencing style its name. And that works great for the drums. For the bass, it's a bit weird because you'll put a step in and it'll be locked to C, and then you have to go in and repitch everything, which is a bit weird. And the other thing that you have, you can obviously input stuff live. You can hit play and then hit record and then plug stuff in live. It quantizes to your next step. The third one is weird because it's not immediately obvious how to do it. You hold record and hit the keyboard button. There's a keyboard button on there. That you can then walk through the individual steps and plug things in on the note buttons down here. And that works, it's neat, and there's some stuff I wish had an option to do things in that manner, because then you can go back and you can toggle things on and off. But I don't know. I'm unsure how well that works for this here. I almost wish if you hit record with the bass selected, it would go into that mode first, but it doesn't. Again, it's a bit jank. Do I regret buying this? No, asterisk. I got this at a pretty hefty discount because one of my local Sam Ashes was going out of business, and they happen to have one of these left, and I figured, to hell with it, why not? I'll pick one up for about 110 bucks. Yeah, I don't regret it. This is going to be a thing I'm probably going to be coming back to consistently for drums and other such things in DAW-less spaces. It's like I said, it's a killer drum machine. The drum machine, I think, is the main reason you'd probably pick this up. That said, if I had to pay full $200 price point for this, I'd probably be less happy with this. I don't think I'm going to sell it, though, because, again, I've only had a week with it, and as far as drum machines go, I'm actually quite happy with this. So if I end up ignoring the 303 side of this in some of my DAW-less setups, I will probably replace that with a synth that I would like to do bass better with. Volca Kick, the keys. I tend to use the Volca keys for that quite a bit. I've had some fun using JU06A in some stuff I haven't recorded, sadly. So I think it's a solid piece of gear. I think it does show some of the early growing pains of the Era Compact series, though. So I am glad that I picked up the S1 and the J6 first, because I think if this had been my initial intro to the line, I probably wouldn't be too happy with it. I wouldn't be too impressed. I do think, knowing that this was one of the original 3, and then we get the new ones in the form of the S1, I think it's a step in the right direction, and I am intrigued to see what Roland puts out next in this line. Yeah, all things considered, not terrible. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for coming along, and I hope you enjoyed all the varying jams. At some point, I'll probably master them. There's not really much mixing to do because they all just went in live into a recorder, but I'll see if I can do some mastering on them, and I'll throw them up on Bandcamp somewhere if you want to pick them up. Cheers. Take care.